Hi, everyone. So we're going to get started with our session. Welcome. I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us today. My name is Inga Pedra. I am the Manager of Strategic Initiatives at the Region of Peel in the Health Services Department. And a key strategic initiative that we work on at the Region of Peel is the Peel Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, which brings together cross-sectoral partners to advance shared priorities in Peel, including mental health and addictions. And as part of this work, I am the co-chair of the Mental Health and Addictions Action Table. And today we're excited to share with you around a cross-sectoral project to improve mental wellness for newcomer young adults and international students in Peel. Before we start with the presentations, I'm going to share our land acknowledgement. And this land acknowledgement was developed with help from the Peel Aboriginal Network and other local Indigenous groups. We would like to begin by acknowledging the land on which we gather and which the Region of Peel operates is part of the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit. For thousands of years, Indigenous peoples inhabited and cared for this land and continue to do so today. In particular, we acknowledge the territory of the Anishinaabeg, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Ojibwe-Chippewa peoples, the land that is home to the Métis, and most recently, the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, who are direct descendants of the Mississaugas of the Credit. We are grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land, and by doing so, give our respect to its first inhabitants. So on today's workshop, you can see the different presenters and what we have planned for the workshop. We will be learning and sharing learnings and next steps from the project to improve newcomer youth and international students' mental wellness. Noreen will start with some background around supporting mental health and addictions in Peel Region and the role of the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. Shreya will then provide an overview of this past year's project to co-design improvements for the mental well-being of newcomer youth and international students. Kevin Preet will then share about what we've learned in terms of providing culturally appropriate services. And we will then hear from Manzi, Preet, and Shanali, who are newcomer youth who participated in this project and provided valuable lived experience perspectives on mental wellness. And then at the end, we will conclude with our project recommendations and next steps and have an opportunity for questions and answers. So I will now pass it on over to Noreen. Thank you.
Thanks, Inga, and hi. So today I'll be starting off with an overview of Peel Region's work to support mental health and addictions, including how this project to improve newcomer youth and international students' mental wellness came to be through our Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan. I'll start by highlighting that it's been a long-standing priority for us at Peel Region to collaborate with and support our partners in building a coordinated, integrated, and equitable MHA system. For those of you who may not be familiar, Peel Region is a regional municipality in Ontario that encompasses the City of Brampton, City of Mississauga, and Town of Caledon. And on this slide, we've captured how Peel Region has provided support for mental health and addictions over the years, in particular through advocacy and cross-sectoral partnerships and coordination. And what I'll be focusing on today is our work through the Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan, which is highlighted in green and which I'll detail on the next slide. So as you may know, all municipalities in Ontario are required to create and adopt a community safety and well-being plan, which we refer to as CSWB. This originated from legislation in Ontario's Community Safety and Policing Act, and it was a recognition that we need to work across sectors and across systems, both upstream and downstream, to address the complex health and social needs that our communities face. So in Peel, the first iteration of our CSWB plan was adopted in 2020, and this is linked on the slide in case you'd like to learn more. And our plan sets out how we work together with our community and system partners to make Peel a safer, more inclusive, and connected community. Over 40 organizations came together to develop this plan, and we've since grown to over 90 partner organizations. And we work with these partners to advance the focus areas, which you can see on the slide. So we had initially started with 3 focus areas, which are family violence, mental health and addictions, and systemic discrimination. And we've since expanded to include supporting international students and youth violence prevention. And we're continuing to review and refresh the plan as we look to 2025. And in terms of how we work together in each of these areas of focus, so for each area, we have an action table which brings together partners to identify and implement shared goals and actions. So as Peel Region, we provide backbone support for each of these tables, and this includes annual seed funding for our partners to implement a key collaboration that's based on the community's identified need. So I'll now share more about our action table for mental health and addictions, how we've collaborated to advance shared mental health and addictions goals, and how we've used seed funding over the past year. So this slide captures the goals and actions of our CSWB mental health and addictions table. So I'll just quickly speak to some highlights. We have a very diverse membership, which includes community, child and youth mental health and addictions providers, education, including the school boards and post-secondary institutions, healthcare, including the OHTs, housing, family services, settlement sector, and police. So our members really represent multiple sectors along the continuum of care. Our shared goals are to the left of the screen. So as you'll note, there's been a focus on children and youth. The first goal is to promote mental wellness and positive relationships among youth and families. And our second goal is to improve access to mental health and addiction services and supports by simplifying pathways and coordinating efforts. So you'll see to the right the various actions that the action table has taken on over the past 4 years to advance each goal. And that brings us back to today's project, which is our most recent collaboration that was supported with seed funding to co-design improvements for newcomer youth and international students' mental wellness. So this project came out of our community's identified need for more culturally responsive mental health and addictions care in Peel. And I'll now pass it to Shreya to speak more to the mental health and addictions needs in our Peel community and the goals and work of this project.
Thanks, Noreen. I'll just start sharing my slides. Are my slides up? I can't see anyone. So
Yes, sorry. Yes, they are.
okay, right. Thank you so much. Thanks, Noreen, for giving that background. PNSG, or Peel Newcomer Strategy Group, was the convener for this project. We are the local immigration partnership for Peel region that covers Brampton, Mississauga, and Caledon. And our host organization is United Way of Greater Toronto. Before diving into the project, I would like to give some context by giving an overview of the Peel region, its demographics, and the mental health services available. Peel is one of the most diverse regions in Canada, with over half of its population identifying as immigrants, representing approximately 18% of the Ontario's total immigrant population. A significant proportion of about 64% of Peel population was born in Asia, and the top languages spoken at home in Peel are Punjabi, Urdu, Hindi, Arabic, and Gujarati, reflecting the region's rich cultural diversity. Additionally, 69% of the Peel residents identify as belonging to a racialized group, the highest percentage in the Greater Toronto area. The region also continues to see a steady growth, with over 30,000 new permanent residents forecasted to arrive annually. In Peel, the mental health and addiction services remain a critical priority for residents. Yes, it is estimated that only 1 in 3 individuals received the treatment they needed. This unmet demand has led to long wait lists for services and increased reliance on hospital emergency departments. In 2019, over 28,000 youth under the age of 18 in Ontario were on the wait list for community mental health services, which is more than double of what was mentioned in 2017. Peel region faced one of the longest wait lists in the province for child and mental health services, with an average wait time of 737 days. These statistics underscore the urgent need to address the mental health service gaps in the region, particularly for children, youth, and families. This slide here talks about the mental health work that PNSG has conducted. Mental health has been one of the strategic priorities for our 5-year plan for 2020 to 2025. In June 2023, PNSG released a report titled Newcomer Mental Health and Wellbeing Through a Settlement Sector Lens. This report aimed to highlight the crucial role of the immigrant and refugee serving settlement sector in supporting the mental health of newcomers, especially during the times of crisis and trauma. The report presented several recommendations, and this project particularly focused on two key areas. The first one was fostering cross-sectoral collaboration, and secondly, promoting a family-centered approach. Building on the recommendations of this report, a proposal was submitted to Region of Peel for seed funding, which was approved, and we got the funding in October 2023. The slide here shows all the partners that were on the planning committee, and this initiative brought together multiple sectors that were directly or indirectly a part of mental well-being of newcomer young adults and international students. So the key participants for this projects included school boards, post-secondary institutions, settlement agencies, family services, research institute, child and youth mental health providers. Central to the project were newcomer youth and international students who played a vital role in shaping its direction by sharing their life experiences and perspectives on various aspects of mental health and wellness. This slide here highlights the primary goals of the project. So the first project was understanding the newcomer youth perspective among sectors and among the sector staff from different sectors while fostering collaboration between these sectors. The second goal was creating opportunities for youth to engage in shared learning experiences. The third goal was to improve culturally responsive services for the newcomer young adults and international students. And lastly, promoting accessible family-centered communication by developing multilingual videos to provide families with clear, accessible pathways to learn about mental health and wellness and available care options. The slide here outlines the project timeline, highlighting the various activities that were completed at different stages of the project. Each activity was led by a project partner, ensuring a collaborative approach. These initiatives brought together service providers from multiple sectors through both virtual and in-person sessions, creating a valuable networking opportunity and strengthening connections among providers. So as I mentioned, we received the funding in October 23, and in November, a forum was organized, which was the starting point for fostering the cross-sectoral connections and creating a collaborative working group for this project. This project was attended by 160 participants from diverse sectors, which I mentioned earlier. There were also 15 booths from different service providers in Peel region, who shared the valuable insight about the range of mental health services and resources available in Peel region. The forum featured a variety of engaging activities and interactive sessions, which not only facilitated networking among the providers, but also highlighted the key areas requiring further training. The participants identified the need to enhance the cultural competence and sensitivity among the service providers, paving the way to more inclusive and effective mental health supports. These are some of the glimpses from the November forum. As I mentioned, the newcomer young adults and international students were a key for our project. So we recruited two community advisory boards, which we abbreviated as CAMP, recruiting 12 newcomer young adults and international students between the ages of 16 to 29 years. From February to October 24, CAB members actively participated in various focus group discussions and a photo voice project, offering valuable insights into mental wellness from their own unique perspectives. These sessions also provided them with an opportunity to contribute ideas for creating youth-friendly wellness spaces. A recurring theme that emerged from the photo voice was the crucial role of nature that it plays in promoting mental wellness. Their inputs were also integral for the development of the staff training offered as a part of this project. And additionally, CAB members joined the planning committee for the October 24 forum, which was the final event or the activity for the project. We also have three members from the CAB presenting with us today who will be sharing their experiences being involved in the project. One of the key activity for this project was creation of a draft video which aimed at reducing the stigma around mental health. While CAM members provided thoughtful feedback due to time constraints, prevented the finalization of this video. Also, at the conclusion of the project, the CAB members participated in an evaluation to share their reflections. There were many positive feedback that we received, which included their appreciation, collaborating with other CAB members and professionals throughout this project of 12 months. They also gained knowledge about the different mental health services and initiatives that are available in Peel region, and now they are able to share these information among their friends and the families. Working alongside with different professionals also help them improve their interpersonal skills. And the photo voice project that they were involved in was one of the most liked activity by the CAB members, which deeply resonated with each member, with not only sharing their experiences, but also learning techniques from others for mental well-being. The CAB members also felt very valued when they were invited to provide the feedback on the mental health video, which reinforced their sense of inclusion. We also had the CAB members attending the in-person October forum, and they expressed their appreciation for the efforts made throughout the project to support the newcomer, young adults, and international students. Many of the CAB members also expressed their interest in future opportunities, such as volunteering with nonprofits and Peel. However, during the evaluation, some CAB members also shared the areas for improvement, as some of them felt disconnected due to limited meetings and a lack of ownership and involvement in the decision making and insufficient communication about the project goals and activities. We also had the opportunity to develop and deliver different learning opportunities to the sector staff. And these training opportunities mostly focused on developing their culturally responsive skills of interacting with people from diverse backgrounds. We organized lunch and learn and in-person training for fostering culturally safe first interactions. My co-presenter, Kanal Preet, will also be sharing more details about these trainings after I complete. And the final activity for the project was the final forum that was held very recently in October. And in this forum, we shared the project findings and also discussed how we can amplify the momentum that has been built through this project. This is the graphic summary of the themes that were captured during the forum discussion. The themes included advocacy for resources and policy change, awareness and outreach to newcomers, service navigation and referrals, and other connections between the services, and also collaboration across different sectors and continued research. Although these themes may not be very new, but they highlight the importance of cross-sectoral collaboration. The community leaders at the forum emphasized that working together is better, particularly when we want to challenge the status quo. Now I will pass on to Kanalpreet to share details about the trainings that were offered through this project.
Thank you, Shreya. I'll just begin in a moment. Hi, everyone. Just please bear with me for 1 second while I set up, and good afternoon to all of you. And through this presentation, I will be talking about advocating for culturally appropriate services through a cross-sectoral collaboration. And before I dive into the actual presentation, a little overview about the organization I work with, Punjabi Community Health Services. So Punjabi Community Health Services was established in 1990 and is a culturally and linguistically competent settlement service provider. And it has been advocating for culturally appropriate services for the last 34 years. And a testament to that fact is that we provide settlement services in over 12 languages, including Hindi, Punjabi, Urdu, Arabic, German, Tagalog, to name a few. And it is one of the rare service providers that offers services both in mental health and settlement. And you can see some of the programs being offered by PCHS on the screen as well. And the interesting part is that PCHS, keeping in mind the need for capacity building of the sector, piloted a capacity building program in 2020, leveraging its collaborative relationship with PNSG over the years. So this project was intended to build the capacity of the settlement service sector to meet the continuously evolving needs of the newcomer population by providing trainings to encourage the sector to work from a trauma-informed, inclusive, culturally competent and sensitive lens. And this project had 4 main components, including compassion fatigue, mental health first aid, trauma-informed approach, and cultural competency. Now, these trainings were administered by leading national organizations who were experts in the topic, like Mental Health Commission of Canada. So moving on, before we dive into the project and the trainings associated with the project, the points on the screen basically are true for most of the migrants. As you can see, Mental Health Commission of Canada mentions the newcomer histories before coming to Canada, their migration journey. These can all take a toll on migrant mental health. So the points on the screen are true for most of the migrants, including students and newcomer young adults who struggle with various issues such as education pressure, housing, employment exploitation, financial stress, to name a few. Therefore, creating safe spaces for them was of utmost importance during this project. Now, let's talk a little bit about the need for and importance of culturally appropriate services. So as we all know, Canada is an ever-growing immigrant population that makes it a boiling pot of cultures, languages, customs, and 18% of Ontario's immigrant population live in Peel. So the big figure on the left that you see, that 52% of Peel's population are immigrants. So this makes it crucial for service providers to offer culturally and linguistically competent and appropriate services to newcomers. And as we can see, culturally appropriate services are crucial for frontline professionals as it enables them to effectively engage with and serve individuals from different cultural backgrounds. And culturally appropriate services focus on many different things like awareness, attitude, knowledge, and skills. And the theory behind, the 4 components of cultural competence, awareness, attitude, knowledge, and skills is grounded in a framework that emphasizes understanding, respecting, and addressing cultural differences, not just in theory, but in practice as well. So these practices help to reduce bias and improve cross-cultural interactions and provide more empathetic and inclusive services. So therefore, we cannot ignore the role of the frontline workers in promoting clients' mental health and well-being, because frontline workers are the first point of contact in most of the cases for information orientation and referral during the client's post-migration process, right? So hence, the webinars that we all organized through this project, these webinars and sessions were aimed at equipping the frontline workers, which included intake workers, counselors, settlement workers, etc., with tools and resources to help them provide culturally safe and responsive services, right? Also, it was crucial for frontline staff to create a safe space for their clients and for themselves as well. And once needs were identified, frontline workers could refer clients to required services like counseling, mental health support, legal assistance, etc. And these services help address various social determinants and create connection to support services and may help promote resilience and a sense of belonging. Thus, frontline workers have a large role in promoting immigrant mental health. Now, the next slide was already shared by Shreya. So let us quickly look at how the Community Safety Wellbeing Project panned out with the funding from the region of Peel and collaboration with various other organizations and sectors. So I'll just quickly take it up from the video on stigma reduction. So the video series was created in collaboration with Peel District School Board staff and other members, and it included introductory information on mental health and wellness, access for international students and newcomer young adults in terms of stigma reduction, health promotion and health literacy, overview of community resources, services, and lastly, and most importantly, how to start conversations about mental health. So these videos were designed to be short so that the intended audience could resonate with the message. Now moving on, in the same project timeline, so we worked on various things like Shreya mentioned. So there were also webinars that were organized on the lines of fostering culturally responsive and accountability spaces. So on the left, you can see one of these was delivered by Baldev Matta, former CEO, Punjabi Community Health Services, towards the beginning of the project in March 2024. And the second one was delivered towards the culmination of the project in October 2024 by Shane Joseph, CEO, Roots Community Services. And some of the quotes from these presenters and speakers are there up on your screen to see how much emphasis was laid on cultural safety, cultural appropriateness, cultural competency, because that is what the discussion was all about. And these webinars focused on the need to foster culturally safe first interactions with newcomer young adults and international students. Additionally, these intended to increase collaboration between different sectors supporting mental health of newcomers to create culturally responsive programs and services. These were also aimed at a deeper scenario-based experiential learning and practice, and promoted learning in a safe environment, creating a safe space to learn, asking questions, and being inclusive of many different cultures. So some of the feedback we did receive from the sessions, asked for more sessions for practitioners to better understand different cultures in Peel and not focus just on one or two cultures alone. And sector-specific trainings were also in demand regarding cultural competency and what it means across different sectors like settlement, healthcare, schooling, etc. So this picture is from our standardized patient program. So again, delivered on the lines of fostering culturally safe first interactions with newcomer young adults and international students. Now, this training was facilitated by the University of Toronto, and it involved standardized patients, or SPs, using live simulation methodology. Now, a little bit about the training is that a standardized patient, also known as a simulated patient or client, is a person trained to reproduce a scripted scenario with a predefined set of historical, emotional, or physical criteria, including portraying personality traits, and behavioral characteristics. So for the training, participants were divided into various groups with one standardized patient and a group facilitator. So each group was presented with a case scenario that was aimed to start a conversation, which would eventually lead to the participant acting as intake worker to ask questions that are culturally informed and appropriate and help reduce stigma. The role of the group facilitator was that they were there to guide the group discussion, ensuring the conversation aligns with our training objectives. And you can see here some of the quotes from the training. So the standardized patient program training task group consisted of a cross-sectoral collaboration. And I think this is what this project was all about at the core, like all other components of the project. So some of the organizations that came, to help with this training were Catholic Family Services of Peel Dufferin, Peel Newcomer Strategy Group, Punjabi Community Health Services, Root Community Services, Institute for Better Health, Trillium Health Partners, Sheridan College, Costi, Algoma University, to name a few. And the training was delivered at the Child Welfare and Immigration Center of Excellence location, with their staff acting as the facilitator for both the days. And the training objectives I'll share some of these. So the training was designed to help participants develop the awareness, knowledge, and skills needed to work effectively and respectfully with people from diverse cultural backgrounds. Training with standardized patients is an innovative and effective approach often used in medical and healthcare education to teach students and professionals how to interact with patients or clients from different and diverse cultural backgrounds. So the standardized patients are trained actors who simulate real patients or clients, presenting specific cultural characteristics, personal experiences, scenarios to help learners who were the intake workers in this scene to practice and develop their skills in a controlled outcome. And the outcomes of the training were that participants were able to initiate an interaction for intake that is culturally safe to support the initiation or referral process. Participants demonstrated awareness of specific issues related to conducting an intake for mental health services. And what was achieved? A greater level of networking in person with service providers across different sectors for this cross-sectoral collaboration, building of skills like cultural responsiveness, critical thinking, interprofessional teamwork, rapport building skills with client and client safety, getting introduced to a new learning model which can be used at organizational level for professional development, and most importantly, bridging theory to practice. And these are some of the quotes from our participants at the training. We got great feedback and we were very happy to receive that. And lastly, the key takeaways included that the webinars were very well received and there was feedback for continuous training in cultural safety and responsiveness, and to expand it to more service providers with more cultures being involved and not just a few. The standardized patient program was first of its kind training, and feedback received indicated that participants wanted more of such training opportunities. Exploring more ways to make the training available in different modes to use resources effectively, and also ways to share the already created resources through different platforms. And participants also requested for more opportunities for in-person trainings and more involvement from people with lived experience. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening so patiently. And I will now pass it on to Mansi. I'll stop sharing my screen now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanwalpreet. Now I will start sharing my screen. Is the slideshow visible to everyone?
Yes, it is. Thanks.
So, hi, I'm Mansi. I'm an addiction and mental health worker, so I'm really passionate about actually launching more projects about mental health. Here I'm here to provide feedback as community advisory board member. So this community project was aimed at exploring and documenting experiences related to mental health and well-being. The initiative encouraged individuals to share their personal stories and perspectives through various mediums, emphasizing the importance of visual representation in communication. The goal was to raise awareness and foster dialogue about mental health issues within our community, because there's a lot of stigma that we should not ask for help whenever we are struggling mentally. So the goal of this project was to end that stigma, so that more newcomer youth who are facing mental health challenges, they can actually go out and they can actually ask for help, they can seek help. Interacting with fellow participants was a significant aspect of the project. Each of us came from diverse backgrounds, bringing unique perspectives and experiences. We began by engaging in group discussions to establish a supportive atmosphere where everyone felt comfortable in sharing their stories. So the first project was Photo Voice project, and the main focus of Photo Voice project was to see what makes international students see what makes us feel safe. So it was focused on capturing places, people, or things that evoke feelings of safety. And at this project, that this is the reason that this project was really personal to all of us. This project allowed participants to reflect on what safety means to them, especially since safety can vary across individuals and contexts, because we all have different safe spaces for us. What we learned through this is that nature helps in healing, and we can always go out to places like libraries, which can also have some sort of support services available, and they can refer us to the services that they know about, because nature and libraries were the most common responses in all of our responses in the Photo Voice project. So my responses in the Photo Voice project library first. Of course, this is the picture of Toronto Reference Library. I explored the theme of safety and comfort within the library. The goal was to capture places, people, and objects that make me feel secure and at ease. Because as an international students, we are all away from our families, and we need a place that makes us feel belonged, or we feel safe there. Nature. This is a lake behind my home. This lake holds a special place in my life as it symbolizes calm, connection, and emotional safety. The stillness of water and the gentle ripples bring me a sense of calm and clarity, helping me when life feels overwhelming. It represents stability and continuity in my life. So, as my own, I'm still an international student here. It's just been 1 year of me being here. So, as a youth international student in Canada, my journey was first. I was very excited, but at the same time, when I moved here, I was away from everyone, and building a new life in a new country where you don't know anyone. It is full of challenges. So, these challenges definitely impacted my mental health in various ways. I was really excited for the new opportunities, but at the same time, I started getting really anxious about all these changes. I was not able to get myself updated with everything at once. So, connecting with other students, other peers who have the same experiences as me, that helped me a lot. That helped me in feeling a sense of belongingness, and that reminded me that I'm not alone in my struggles, and I want to do the same for the other people who are coming here. So this is all. Now I will stop sharing my screen. I will just pass it to Preet now. Thank you.
Hi everyone. I hope you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Preet Madan, and currently I'm a student at Algoma University. So my university introduced me to this opportunity to be a CAB member, community advisor board member. Okay, to be honest, at first that was a $25 that interested me. Okay, I'm gonna get paid $25 for an hour. So I was like, okay, let's do it. But eventually, I learned a lot through the CAB, through the all the meetings that were being conducted. I kind of gained a lot of insight into what are the resources that I have, and I wasn't aware about as an international student. And yes, so the first thing that we worked was on the photo voice project. The project asked us to share about the spaces that makes us feel comfortable, safe, and open to sharing about our mental health. So for me, that was first one was the library, because library is kind of calm and peaceful. Like you can just be there and do whatever, like studies and everything you want. So the first one was Mississauga Library for me. I have a picture of it. The second one was a YMCA studio. So this might not be the comfortable space for everyone, but since I'm a dancer, I love to dance. So this is the one thing where I go to when I'm like stressed and I'm just so done with the exam. So I just go there and dance. So these are the two places which are comforting to me. The learning. So I learned a lot via this project. The first one was that everyone in the group they have to give their own they have to share their own photo voice project in the meeting, and then I get to know, okay, so these were the factors that I realized are important. First, the sunlight is important, then the peaceful environment. The other thing has to be the temperature. So if the temperature, if it's really cold or if it's hot, the people won't be able to focus or be in peace. The other thing is greenery, and the last thing which I felt was the minimal decor. So it doesn't have to be a lot of things in a place. It has to be minimally decorated. Then the other thing that we all worked on was the mental health awareness video. As Shreya mentioned, that was about the stigma regarding the mental health which everyone has. And at that time, I realized, okay, it's not just a YouTube video that just pops up on our screen. There is a lot of work that goes behind it. As we all were discussing about the video, like what should be the color, what should be the content, what's well, okay, so even the images that were being they need to be changed. And the words that are being used, does they look depressing? Do we need to work on that? So these were all the things that I learned that okay, everything goes in making a video. Then there was a forum planning. So then I got the opportunity to attend the October in-campus forums. That was awesome. I get to know about a lot of the resources. There's a lot of the service provided. I didn't even knew about that. So that was really good experience for me. I got a chance to speak in front of a lot of people that helped me. And then also the forum planning was all about the teamwork. I had to collaborate. Thanks to Shreya and everyone, like we were there in meetings and getting the things done. Also, I got the opportunity to share my learning and share my experience as an international student. And then now I get a chance to perform or to share my experience at the Pathway to Prosperity conference today. So thank you everyone. That was my experience. And now I'm gonna hand it over to Shivani.
Hi, can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes.
thanks, Sonali.
So I would like to introduce myself. I graduated from the University of Toronto with an honors Bachelor of Science degree in neuroscience, and I worked in the healthcare. I'm currently a full-time caregiver. So I'm here as a newcomer young adult sharing my experience on the Community Advisory Board. This opportunity helped me to learn about mental health and wellness supports available in the Peel region during project meetings, evaluations, reflections, and discussions. Punjabi Community Health Services answered our questions when we looked over training materials for mental health professionals. We also had the chance to get involved in multiple project activities, such as the Photo Voice project. So throughout the Photo Voice project, discussions around mental health during my time with the Community Advisory Board shaped my perspective on wellness in youth communities in two ways. First, I realized that there are many more supports available than I was initially aware of. And secondly, there can be barriers for you to access all the services because of limited availability. So I just have the criteria here on the screen of how we chose a space or a feature for space. When we chose 3 pictures that had to be comfortable, safe, and open to sharing. We had a short narrative and we had 3 questions to answer. So this was the first picture I chose. It's a beautiful rock painting that I found outside a building on a trip that I took. I chose this painting because I think the scenery is relaxing and I think youth need to feel at ease to open up about their feelings and emotions. So in an ideal wellness space, they would have nice artwork to make it calm, relaxing. I also chose a large aquarium filled with fish of different sizes. I chose this aquarium because I was thinking about how the fish have everything they need to thrive in their enclosed environment. I think youth need access to all the basic necessities such as food, water, approachable people to feel comfortable sharing their experience. And this is the last picture. I chose a collection of plants in front of a window. I chose this greenery because plants are an important feature found in a space that is welcoming. It can be a sanctuary to which one can retreat. Youth need a space that is well ventilated and filled with oxygen as well as clean air to help them recall their past and focus on the present. There are others who have faced similar challenges and overcome them with support to adjust in a new country. Settlement after relocation can be a very stressful experience because for many, it is the first time they've had to navigate life without all the support that they are used to accessing back home. And people may be coming from a less than ideal situation to start a new life here. I have personally grown as a leader while working on this project as I want to advocate for newcomers and raise awareness about the challenges we face through this project. So I just have here a list of what would work best for me. A variety of options, something that is close to home, that's accessible. The live chat and text message options are really important for people who are young. The youth of today don't really like as much in-person and phone calls, especially if they're experiencing mental health challenges. It has to be culturally appropriate and a flexible availability. The most important is knowing that I am not alone, and socializing with others in a new environment really helps. Also, one-on-one counseling in a safe space is very important to me. I've seen group options offered, which might not work for everyone. So that's all I have today. Thank you.
Thanks, Shanali. I think, Noreen, we're back to you for a few slides at this point.
Thanks. First Shreya
Thanks.
and then myself.
Oh, Shreya, thank you.
So finally, is my presentation up?
Yes, it is. Thanks.
Yeah, so the slide here shows some of the project recommendations. These recommendations are not something that are new that we haven't heard in the past, but it certainly advocates for a sustained action and sustained attention and continuous action. So some of the recommendations include advocacy, which will involve engaging decision makers and funders, awareness and outreach to the common population who so as to reduce stigma and barriers for access of services, service navigation with this central access point, not only for the service provider, not only for the service users, but also for the service providers so that they can refer the client to a centralized location where all the services and resources are available. Providing connections and ongoing trainings. As Kanwalpreet also mentioned, that cultural competence or cultural sensitivity is not just a one-time training, it's a continuous learning process. So building that community of practice and also research which should include people with lived experiences to have that perspectives from the service users is very important. I will finally share some of the next steps of project sustainability and what we as a lab can do about the recommendations that came out of the project. So firstly, we as a local immigration partnership, we organize many learning sessions and just a minute. As local immigration partnership, we will continue offering tailored professional development to meet the evolving needs of the sector. These sessions will cover crucial areas like cultural safety, inclusion, sector-specific skills, ensuring that staff are well equipped with the changing needs of the population. The in-person trainings that were offered in this project involves a lot of significantly involves a lot of coordination, time, and financial resources. And as a local immigration partnership, we will continue to support the sector as and when the resources are available. Also to mention, in 2024, we organized different virtual and in-person sessions, about 25 of them, which brought together more than 1,900 settlement providers from Peel and Halton, providing them not only the learning and networking opportunities, but also having those connections which has helped in referrals. The second, we will also continue resource sharing within the sector as we convene multiple working groups and tables with representatives from diverse sectors and organizations in Peel and Halton. These groups facilitate resource sharing, collaboration, and knowledge exchange, enhancing service delivery and referrals. We will continue as a lab to be engaged with different research work, and we will be also involving service users or people with lived experiences in this research. And for service users, PNSG has a website called immigrationpeel.ca, which is a resource for newcomers seeking information for settling in Peel. And finally, we will continue building partnerships and supporting additional initiatives that we come across in the Peel region. I'll pass it over to Noreen now to discuss project sustainability at the regional level.
Thank you, Shreya. So building on the project reflections and recommendations that were shared today, I'll be wrapping up with some next steps that we're taking at Peel Region to apply what we've learned from this project to the broader mental health and addiction system. So we've seen today that cross-sectoral collaboration remains central to advancing the state of our mental health and addiction system in Peel. And so as we look to the future, we've identified key opportunities for us to strengthen collaboration around mental health and addictions. These opportunities are captured on the slide, and I'll be speaking to them briefly. And for your reference, these opportunities are also detailed in the report, which is linked on the slide. We had the opportunity to present these to Peel Regional Council's Health System Integration Committee this year. So a first key opportunity and next step that we see at the region to strengthen collaboration is improving coordination with our system partners. Today's project has been an example of how we need joint planning and implementation to support mental health and addictions. So in the future, we'll be looking to further improve how we can leverage system tables like our CSWB action tables, like our OHT partners, like other system tables to share our learnings, expertise, and networks and make connections to other work that's happening in the system. And so one example from this project is that we had the opportunity to connect with a research team at Trillium Health Partners Institute for Better Health, and they'll be taking some of our project learnings to inform the design of a mental well-being program for newcomer families. As well, we're also making connections to our other CSWB areas of focus, including our International Students Collaborative, to support the recommendations of this project. And so really emphasizing the importance of coordination so that we can amplify our impact across the mental health and addiction system. A second key opportunity and focus for the region is to take a comprehensive population mental health approach when we're collaborating with our partners. So today's project was an example of the importance of engaging partners along the continuum of care, since we know that mental health and addictions needs can present at various points of the system, whether it's the settlement sector, whether it's in education, and the many other sectors we referenced today. And so we need to collaborate across the continuum and also both upstream and downstream. And so in the project today, we talked about activities that took place at multiple levels of intervention. So for instance, engaging youth and community advisory boards and developing stigma reduction videos, which are more upstream and relate to mental health promotion. And we also talked about more downstream, the cultural competency trainings that were developed for service providers to support mental health treatment. And so this is a comprehensive approach that we're also taking to guide our CSWB work, and that will be looking to guide our broader collaborations. As a third key opportunity and next step, the region is also continuing to advocate to other levels of government to support system changes. So we know that Peel's child and youth mental health and addiction system is at capacity. And for newcomer youth and international students in particular, we know that there are clear systemic challenges that prevent them from accessing mental health and addiction support. So whether this is many newcomer youth and international students not being eligible for services or service providers not being funded and having even more limited capacity to support these communities, it's important that we continue coming together so that we also have coordinated advocacy when we're reaching out to elected officials about our system needs, gaps, and opportunities for investment. And then finally, as we continue to collaborate across sectors, across systems related to mental health and addictions, we know that it'll be important to consider broader social determinants of health. So considering intersections like substance use and addictions, housing, broader social determinants like I mentioned, and then also in this approach, engaging lived experience as well. So we had the chance to hear from our community advisory board members today. And so recognizing that taking this broader approach, but that's also grounded in lived experience to inform our ongoing needs assessment and data gathering related to mental health and addictions. And so today's project is only one example of the importance of cross-sectoral collaboration to maximize our collective efforts and impact around mental health and addictions. And we're excited to continue building on the momentum of this project through our CSWB work, but also broader work with partners across Peel's health and social service systems. So this brings us to the end of our presentation. We appreciate the opportunity to share about this past year of collaboration, and we also want to extend our appreciation to all our community partners and all our community advisory board members who helped us move this project forward. So I'll pass it back to Inga to take us through some questions and answers.
Thank you, Noreen, and thank you, everyone. I just maybe echo the thank you. Really appreciate each of you as presenters to take the time to share today. I think, you know, really kind of seeing it all together, you can see the breadth of the work that took place as part of this project, and also really appreciate the CAB members for your contribution and for sharing your experience today. And also want to thank for everyone who has taken part and listened in to our presentation and our sharing today. And you know, I don't want to repeat too much of what was said. This is you know, this project we hope to build on and continue moving forward. And I know there's a lot of great information around this, you know, the different components of the project that were undertaken, but wondering if anybody listening in from the audience has any questions, anything that maybe wasn't clear that you'd like clarity on, anything that you would like more information on. We're happy to, we have about 15 or so minutes if there are any questions. Okay, I'm not seeing any hands or questions. So happy, if you do think of something in the next little bit, feel free to put it forward. But I think given that we have this great panel of individuals and experts here with us, we can kind of continue the conversation since we have the time available. And I know you all kind of spoke to, and I think in particular near the end where Noreen and Shreya highlighted kind of the recommendations. Actually, maybe I do see a question come up. Oh, there is a question. That's great. Maybe we'll start there before we go into our conversation. So there's a question that says, can you elaborate on how your work aligned with community safety and well-being in Peel? So I can start there, but then we'll open it up to others to contribute. Great question. Thanks for asking for around it. So with respect to the community safety and well-being plan in Peel, which was developed more than 4 years ago when the initial thinking and development and bringing stakeholders together and partners at the time took place. Was to kind of better understand community needs and what the situation was in Peel at the time with respect to well-being and safety. And so at that time, when the plan was developed, we identified, or through those consultations, 3 main priority areas were identified, and mental health and addictions was one of those priority areas for community safety and well-being in Peel. And so as part of that particular priority area, we identified specific goals within each of our priority areas. And within mental health and addictions, the key goals were around access to services, navigation of services, and as well as like supports for youth and families with respect to mental health and addictions. And for the plan as a whole in Peel, the children and youth are a key priority population as well for the plan overall. So I think, and I think so that's the key kind of linkage that I would see. Like mental health and addictions as a whole is a priority for the community safety and well-being, and children and youth are a priority area. So that's kind of where the more direct clear link is, but as you may be aware as well, given kind of the demographics in Peel and newcomers and international students, and ensuring there's a international students collaborative that's also kind of come into play over the last year or so to help support the experience of international students at the region. Or not at the region, in Peel, at kind of the region geographically. So I think a combination of that work on mental health and addictions, on international students, and having those be priorities. And a number, individuals around organizations around this table actively participate at the mental health and addictions action table for community safety well-being. So we saw that as kind of a great opportunity of things kind of happening. The report that PSG and Shreya spoke to, and the kind of recommendations of that report really closely aligned with what we were hoping to achieve through community safety and well-being. I'll stop there. I think those were kind of the main connections, but welcome input from others. And we do have a few more questions. Any other insights from the other panel members? Okay. Go ahead, Shreya. Yeah.
Yeah, just to add on, like for our past strategic plan for 2020 and 2025, mental health was one of the priorities. And as Inga, you already mentioned, that the report that came up in June 2023 highlighted the need for culturally appropriate services. So these recommendations clearly aligned with CSWB work, and that is how the project was put together.
Thanks for that, Shreya. So maybe at this point, I'll go to the next question. As a local immigration partnership, will you spearhead the collaboration necessary to address the recommendations in the study? If not, how or who will keep an eye on the implementation of these next steps and actions?
can take that. I would say this project was just a pilot, and if given an opportunity to expand this project with support for additional funding, we would love to spearhead any further collaborations to amplify the work of this project. And so even gladfully, we have received the funding, the IRCC funding for the next 3 years, and mental health is also a priority for our next 5-year plan. So yes, mental health will continue be one of the priorities for whatever work we do. And also, as I mentioned in my last slides, how we will work on the recommendations. Trainings, we'll continue to offer those trainings as if you have the funding or not have the funding, but the modality might depend on the availability of funding, since the standard patient modality involved a lot of funding requirements and a lot of coordination and dedicated time. So as and when the funding or the resources become available, we would be including that as a part of our trainings. And what was the other part? Yeah, Azir, and also, yes, since I mentioned that we work in collaboration with many other we have many working groups, which includes a number of organizations and working partners, including research institutes, post-secondary institutes. We'll continue to work on the recommendations of this project. Thanks.
Thanks. Anybody else want to add to that perspective? I think maybe Noreen from the regional and community safety wellbeing perspective.
Yes, happy to. So although we're not a local immigration perspective partnership, definitely from the region of Peel, we're looking to work closely with PNSG and also our other cross-sectoral partners to continue the work of this project. And so I had mentioned our community safety and well-being plan with our evolving areas of focus. And so right now we're actually in the process of refreshing our plan and kind of informing the next iteration of our plan. And so we're looking for opportunities to improve how we work together with our partners and inform kind of what are our areas of focus and maybe where are these intersections where we can act. And so those key areas that Shreya spoke to earlier related to advocacy, related to awareness and outreach, related to, a community of practice. These are definitely learnings that we'll be taking into the refresh of our CSWB plan and thinking about how not just our mental health and addictions action table, but perhaps our international students collaborative, perhaps our family violence table, perhaps, these other different partners and collaboratives that we have, how we can all work together on this. So I think we see it as not just kind of one project, but many different avenues where we can continue this work.
Yeah, thank you both. And I guess just to add to that before I move to that question, I think having the lived experience perspective and voice in this project up to this point has been really valuable. So I would hope that we intend to, maintain that as part of implementation. And so I think this is a key component that we would want to ensure through the various avenues, whether it's trying to attach to existing work and tables or working on something new, that we would maintain and strive for a lived perspective input. So next question, with a focus on nature and the Photo Voice project, how could this influence services and partners move forward to improve mental health supports? And this question is from Jessica Quick, which thanks, Jessica. I think it's a great reflection. You were involved in this work, and I think important for us to think through. Does anybody on the panel have any immediate thoughts with respect to this question? So it's around, definitely, and I think Manzi, Preet, and Sonali really spoke to this, the component of nature and the peace and calm that often, we all kind of look to nature for that calm to support our mental wellness. And, what does that look like for programs and services?
I think we can organize more nature-based workshops. Mental health professionals can organize more nature-based workshops for newcomer youth so that they can participate. I mean, the workshops should be more accessible to the newcomers so that more and more people can attend it. And at the same time, they can focus on nature-based therapies by professionals.
Yeah, that's helpful. Thanks for sharing.
Also to mention, the inputs from the CAP members were drawn for the wellness spaces. So Peel District School Board will be working on a pilot to develop a youth hub to incorporate these inputs for a wellness space that would be created. So that would be the next step that will be coming through this project. And also we have other community partners like Peel CYs who also are working on a youth wellness hub along with other partners who already have their existing youth spaces. So these findings will also provide an inputs on what already exists and to incorporate those in the existing youth hubs that are already there in the Peel region.
Thank you both. And I think that, you know, this really also speaks to the importance of knowledge translation of what was learned through the project. And I know that, you know, sessions such as this one and, you know, sharing the forum that took place. And I think just continuing that and finding avenues to share what the findings were, what the learnings were, and what the potential opportunities, so that there's an awareness to be able to incorporate some of these findings. Thanks for that. Next question. So we have 4 minutes. I'll move more quickly. I apologize. I've kind of lost track of time. Okay, so 2 more questions that we have. Next one is, thank you for sharing the great work you do to address such an important challenge in the newcomer community, especially given COVID and isolation, etc. Do you feel that we have made real progress on destigmatization of mental health among the newcomer population? It's a tough question. So, you know, I would welcome insights from others. You know, I think in particular, our CAB members would really value your perspective and your input on how you feel, you know, whether progress has been made or where are we at in that journey with respect to stigma associated with mental health, and in particular within the newcomer population. You know, I think this is a step in the right direction. Right. And it is what we're moving towards. I think having these conversations, creating opportunities to be part of you know, initiatives, implementing initiatives, or informing how and what initiatives are needed is a step in that right direction. But you know, I think progress is there's still room for further progress for sure. I think, you know, stigma around mental health for newcomer population and more broadly the stigma that's associated with it. But I welcome thoughts from others.
Yeah, I agree, Inga, and the fact that the need for the services has doubled from the stats that I shared. So it has doubled from 2017 to 2019, and that was the period when the COVID has happened. That itself mentions that people are getting to the services. That's why there's a lack of services and there are long wait lists. That means more and more people are becoming aware and value the importance of mental health. So I think, yes, there is some stigma reduction as people are getting aware, but yes, it's a long journey and it will take some time for us to get there.
Thank you. And likely our final question for today from Michelle. Thanks, Michelle. Do you have any recommendations on how to promote or frame upstream prevention programs or services as mental health related? Many upstream prevention programs are seen as recreational or social, and it's tricky to convince funders that it plays a crucial role in mental health and well-being. Great question. I'll start us off and welcome thoughts from others. I think for sure, I think coming from a bit of a public health background myself, you know, mental health promotion, upstream prevention is always kind of at the core of that work. And I know that in Ontario, there is a mandate for public health units to play an active role in promoting mental well-being and thinking more upstream. I think in Peel, that's for at this point looked a lot of working with schools, public health kind of going into the schools, working with mental health nurses in the schools to promote kind of more upstream programming and awareness and understanding and education of mental wellness. So public health is not maybe as well funded as the acute sector. So I agree with you that maybe, the funding isn't at the same level, but I do see it as increasingly, I see it in conversation and as a priority, that shift that, it's we can't only focus on treatment. There is a recognition that we need to think upstream. And I'll leave the last word or any additions to others.
I can maybe quickly add in terms of our CSWB approach. We talked about wanting to have a comprehensive approach. And so what we've been hearing a lot from our partners is if we only have, there's already so much burden and demand on crisis response, like downstream. And so unless we invest more upstream, then, that's just going to add to the burden and limited capacity that is downstream. And so that's something that we've been trying to incorporate in our advocacy. So trying to advocate and be clear about kind of the longer term benefits to addressing kind of our already existing capacity crisis and, what would happen if we don't invest upstream. So definitely kind of a continued effort, but trying to be more comprehensive.
Thanks, everyone. Really appreciate the active participation, and I hope everybody enjoyed the session and got something out of it. Take care, everyone.